so important and not enough coaches talk about it. Yeah. And it's honestly the simplicity of nutrition and how to actually get yourself on track with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people either overcomplicate or brush over these basics and they don't talk about them. Like, this is all about structure and about how to actually get your nutrition on track. And if you follow all of these, you can't go wrong with your nutrition.
Welcome back to another episode of the Coaching Society podcast. We have a special guest with us today. She has just walked into the set, and
if anyone's not watching this, like, go and watch it right now.
This is our life.
This is what I have to deal
Head
with
to
every
YouTube
single
and
day.
watch this.
Yeah.
Our guest is Haydee, our Samoyed, our two-year-old, three-year-old.
Yeah.
2-year-old,
three-year-old
Samoyed, and she's
got really smelly breath, and if you're watching, you can tell how I can know that because she's right up in my face.
She's obsessed with us. Yeah. Like, if you could imagine a dog with, like, it's probably our fault, like severe separation anxiety, like needs to be touching us at all times, it's Haydee. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, you will see, like, a prime example of that.
She can stay there.
Anyway, she'll probably stay there the whole episode, not going to lie. So let's get into things. So welcome back to another episode. What we're going to be discussing today is, I feel like what a lot of coaches see is like, oh my God, this dog. What a lot of coaches see is like just basic knowledge, like something so simple. And when we were kind of brainstorming this idea, we were like, I don't know, like it's so basic, but it's so important and not enough coaches talk about it. Yeah. And it's honestly the simplicity of nutrition and how to actually get yourself on track with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people either overcomplicate or brush over these basics and they don't talk about them. Like, this is all about structure and about how to actually get your nutrition on track. And there are a lot of weak links that a lot of people might have. So I do really think that if you follow all of these, you can't go wrong with your nutrition. And then that's where then once you've followed all of these, you can then start looking into the intricacies of like your macros and your micros and your food quality and all that other like jazz. But these 5 steps you need to follow.
It's like learning to walk before you can run. This is like learning to walk. Learning to walk 101, 5 hacks, 5 tips, I guess.
And identify which one is the weakest link that you have as well. So we'll cover all of those, which I'm super excited about. And I think like it's a really good thing that every single person who listens to this works out exactly which of the 5 things is their weakest element. And then actions all of them and try and break down like when you do your nutrition for the week. Okay, this is actually me doing step 1. This is actually me doing step 2, 3, 4, and 5. Rather than just thinking of your nutrition as like, I'm just eating my food. Mm-hmm. Like it's a lot more detailed than that a lot of people don't talk about.
100%. But before we get into it, let's get into our bit of advice today. Oh my God, I wish Haydee...
I've definitely got 2 bits of advice. Number 1, don't get a Samoyed.
No, get a Samoyed. They're honestly the best breed ever. Like, I'm not sure. I don't really know anyone who owns a Samoyed.
No.
Like anyone. They're the most beautiful dogs ever. I grew up with a Labrador and I always said I will always have a Labrador. Like, I'll never veer from this breed. Like, I loved my Lab growing up. And then I got a Samoyed and I'm like, oh my God, I'm obsessed.
She's like just so cuddly, almost too needy, but that's okay. We can cope with that. She's literally still sitting on my lap.
When Russ can't sleep. So Russ is a really bad sleeper.
Oh, this is embarrassing.
I'm telling you, it's happening. It is happening. I'm telling the world.
Okay.
When Russ can't sleep, he calls Haydee up onto the bed, which I'm trying to get out of this habit, but anyway, calls Haydee up into the bed and like she like puts herself on his pillow, like next to his head, and her breathing puts him to sleep. Like her like panting puts Russ to sleep. Like, what the hell, man?
Remember when I was the one who didn't want a dog?
Literally.
And now look at me. Like, I can't sleep without her.
Like, her breathing puts you to sleep. Anyway.
What a joke.
Our advice for the week. Russ, do you want to start us?
Yeah, I told you. Don't get a Samoyed. No,
don't get a Samoyed.
So my advice for the week is something we've implemented. We've talked about it a fair bit. Is making sure that you're prioritizing kind of you time and setting yourself work boundaries. And that can be with anything as well. It doesn't have to be with work. It could be with something that you are kind of like diving into that you're doing a lot at the time, like making sure that you do set yourself those boundaries. So something that we've tried to do this week is set ourselves like a knock-off time, which we've never really had. Normally we just work and then we would come out of the offices and then we'd go and cook dinner.
Yeah, we just finished work when we've finished we're doing.
Yeah. And then like sometimes we'd cook dinner and then we'd literally like have the laptop at the dinner table, or we'd eat dinner together and then go back into the office or sit on the couch watching TV, but we'd have a laptop sitting there.
But it was like affecting our sleep, like doing that. And for anyone who does work from home or has the ability to work from home, like it is really important to actually set a knock-off time, because if you don't, you can work until like 9, 10 and then have dinner and then expect yourself to go to bed and go to sleep straight away. And that wasn't going to happen. And that's what was happening with us. Like we were not sleeping.
Exactly. So yeah, we set ourselves like 5:30, 6 o'clock is like kind of our knock-off time. And basically what I found this week is it's made me more productive during the day, knowing that I've got to get shit done by that time. Whereas I think it's Parkinson's law that you will always take as long as you need to do something.
Parkinson's law?
I don't know. It could be, might not be. It sounds good anyway. So
I'm going to Google that after this episode because I actually don't know.
I think it is. But
I thought Parkinson's law was about something like physics and angles and shit.
I don't know.
No? Anyway, okay.
If I'm right, then that sounded really smart. If I'm wrong, then it sounded really stupid.
Yeah, anyway, continue.
I'm going to go with it anyway. But basically, you will always take as long as you need. Like, remember with uni, you'd always like finish your exams or your assignments like the night before. It's the same with like a work day. Like, you'd always find that you drag your work day out until your knock-off time, which if you don't have a knock-off time, you work from home or you work for yourself and it's like 9, 10 o'clock. You probably won't be as productive as you should be up until that time, whereas you can squeeze a lot more in if you do have that set boundary of that time. You probably start work earlier, you probably have less breaks, you probably work a lot more efficiently, and it then means that then you can finish up and be able to then enjoy time with your partner or have more cuddles with your dog, even though I don't need any more of those. But
yeah, still on your lap.
I know.
Half of her body's still
She's standing on the floor. She's standing, and then she's laying.
She'll probably stay the whole episode. Yep. Anyway, my advice for the week. So, I got a Ninja Creamy
2.5 months ago.
2.5 months ago, I did. Everyone's probably so sick of me talking about this because, like, I've spoken about it all week. But I got a Ninja Creamy and I made my first batch of recipes today, and oh my god, it was the funnest thing ever. Like, anyone who knows me knows that I love ice cream, and the fact that I'm making my own ice cream,
it's very you.
It's very me.
Yeah.
If I would it's on brand.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to be eating all of it. So
oh, I know. I made a Milo one, I made a M&M one, and I made a Biscoff one, and I'm like counting down the hours for it to be frozen so I can spin it, put in like my mix in and devour it. But anyway, get a Ninja Creamy. So if you haven't got one, I'm very late on the bandwagon. Well, not really, because if I actually unboxed it when Ross bought it for me, I wouldn't be, but I am. If you haven't got one, jump on the bandwagon because you can do so much with it, like margaritas, ice cream, slushies.
Thick shakes.
Yum.
And you can like make them relatively healthy as well, like adding protein to them. You can have like protein thick shakes, you can have protein ice cream.
The ice creams that I've made this morning, they have like at least 40 grams of protein in it.
Fuck yeah. Love.
Can't get that from your freaking Battle Pop, can you?
From your McFlurry.
I reckon it's going to be better than. But anyway, get yourself a Ninja Creamy because they're actually the best.
Get one. Do it.
Let's get into the episode. So,
this is kind of my episode, isn't it, really? Because
I'm just going to like add in parts, I guess.
I'm
just here. Like, I'm just existing at this point.
Explained what we're going to talk about to Michaela about 5 minutes ago. And it's something that I, in a way, have put together. I'm not going to say I've invented this method because it's just fucking common sense. But the way I teach this to our clients is kind of something I've put together by breaking down what I believe people need to do with their nutrition to get everything on track. That there's certain elements of nutrition that people screw up, and it's really, really important to break down what nutrition looks like on a whole. So you can then go, okay, cool, what do I need to work on and what's my weakness? And these are in order as well. These like 5 steps that we're going to go through are in order. So you have to start at number 1 and work your way through. There's probably only one step that you can really skip, which might be the prepping step, but I still think that's really, really crucial. But if you follow all 5 steps, you won't go wrong. It's literally from the start to the end, how you can hit your nutrition goals.
Yeah, so like throughout this ep, once we're like going through the 5 steps, kind of keep like a scorecard for yourself. Like if you're really struggling with your nutrition, if you're really struggling to stay on track or to hit your macros or whatever it may be, count up these steps, and if you've got 5 out of 5 when you get to the end of this ep, then you shouldn't be stuffing up your nutrition.
Yep.
But if you're like a 4 out of 5, then you've identified your weak link. You know what you need to do.
Yeah, and you can use these 5 steps as like a checklist each week as a self-check-in as well and go, okay, with my nutrition, did I do all 5 of these things? And tick them off every single week and use it as your own nutrition scorecard on a week-to-week basis. So step 1, this is the planning step. So this is plan, where we're going to plan and structure and schedule our whole week and plan our nutrition. So
the most important one, in my opinion.
Yeah, like you can't get any of the other elements right unless you do this first one. So it's where a lot of people go wrong. Who here has gone to the grocery store and just walked in there and gone, oh, what are we going to eat this week?
What am I actually having for lunch this
week? What am I going to have? Maybe I'll just go down the fresh food aisle and I'll just grab a few things, and then I might head like next to the bread aisle and I'll grab a few things here. That's not even step 2. That's step 3. So what we need to do is come back a bit and plan what we're going to have. So this is broken down. The planning step is broken down into 2 different stages. The first one is planning your week. Planning and structuring your week. Like, what are you going to do with your training, your nutrition, everything for your week? I'm so big on scheduling. Add everything in. And you also want to plan to try and get yourself as ahead as possible. Plan when you're actually going to organize your nutrition the next week.
Sorry. See you, Hades.
Have a great day.
Bye.
So yeah, plan when you're going to sit down and do all of this process again at the end of the week. And then all it is then a repeatable process and a repeatable cycle that you can follow. So that's the first step, is planning out your week and like scheduling your week. Second step is planning what the fuck you're going to eat. Like, plan what you're going to have. My recommendation on this, if you've got your calorie, like you can't do any of this without a calorie and macro goal, but if you've been tracking on MyFitnessPal previously, use all of your saved meals in MyFitnessPal, because they're obviously foods and meals that you like eating and enjoy eating. Use all of those to actually plan what you're going to have. Look through them and go, okay, what am I going to have for breakfast this week? You might pick one option, you might pick 2 or 3 options, and look at your breakfast options that are saved in MyFitnessPal and go, yep, that. And you can then even like transition this into the next step, which we'll cover in a minute, by tracking it. So that then means that you work out exactly what you're going to have for the week. Like, whether it's using recipe books, whether it's using a meal plan that you've got, whatever the fuck it is, like, plan what you're going to have.
It's kind of like an enjoyable process as well. Like, if you have a bit of fun with it, like every Sunday, I love sitting down and having a think about like, what cuisine do I want to experiment with this week? What cuisine? What cuisine?
That's it.
Do we want to eat this week? Do we want to go Greek? Do we want to go Italian? Like, what is it that we want to create?
I want to go to whatever language you just said cuisine in. What queen?
Is it French? It kind of sounds a bit French.
I'm pretty sure the word cuisine is French.
Is it?
I think so. It sounds it.
Yeah, it does sound a bit French, doesn't it? The fact that we've been to France, like...
Yeah. I know. Oh, well.
France, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Say
I
it
always
properly.
pick on Russ's accent.
It's France. It's dance.
It's
It's
France.
France. Yep.
It's France.
Sure.
Anyway, so have a bit of fun with it. Like, sit down on a Sunday, like, plan it out. I always come up with, like, these recipes, run them past Russ to see if he'll eat it in the first place.
I don't eat it because I'm fucking fussy ass.
Not that bad. You're getting better. And then, what we do is, like, obviously write everything down, and that leads us to step number 2.
Yeah, so writing everything down and then transitioning that into tracking your food. So step 2 is track. With tracking your food, like, you can't go to the grocery store yet, because you could go to the grocery store and get everything that you planned to have, that you thought about having, that you'd written down, and it might not be anywhere near your calorie and macro targets. So let's say you've got a high protein target with your macros, or your calories are X amount. You might plan to have all of these meals. You go and buy them all, go to the grocery store, buy everything, and then come back and then try and track it. And it's like, fuck, I haven't got enough protein sources this week to hit my high protein goal, or I actually haven't bought enough food to hit my calorie targets.
Yeah, and this is where, like, tracking on your MyFitnessPal diary, like, is so important, because you can identify, do I have enough protein? Is the protein source that I'm using lean enough? Am I having too many, like, soul foods? Do I need to actually be a little bit more realistic, include a little bit of more fruit and veg in my diet? Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have any idea that this is the case until you have tracked it in your MyFitnessPal diary. So this is kind of like foolproofing your recipes and your plan before you go and spend all of this money on ingredients that you don't align with you and your nutrition goals.
Yeah. And the other thing that can happen too, which I've seen and we've done, is like we've made all these mistakes ourselves too. We're not saying this
100%.
just from fucking being perfect all the time. Like
We've been working on this for like a decade.
yeah, exactly. But one thing that also happens is like unless you track what you're going to eat, you don't know the quantities. So who has gone to the grocery store and bought 500 grams of mince and come back and needed a kilo because they didn't track their food and go, okay, I'm going to be having like my pasta and mince for 5 meals, and you didn't work out exactly how much you needed. Because, yeah, you might have gone to the grocery store with a list, which means you're probably doing better than 95% of people, but you didn't work out how much of each ingredient you need to buy. Which then means once you've tracked everything, you can use your MyFitnessPal diary that you have added in. And I would recommend, personally, having one breakfast that you have for the whole week. You don't have to have it all the time forever, but pick a breakfast that you're going to have for the whole week. And then I would pick 2 lunches for most people. Some people just one. But most people, you and I, for example, we have 2 lunches a week. We make 3 days worth and then we make 3 or 4 days worth, depending on what we've got on the weekends. So 2 lunches, and then I would go for maybe 3 or 4 different dinners.
Yep. So we have like one breakfast for the entire week just because it's easy for us. And then we'll change every single week. And then
That's when Haiti doesn't eat it out of the pantry.
yeah, that's when Haiti. If anyone's been following along like to my Instagram stories this week, Haiti is in this really bad habit of jumping on top of the pantry, like on top of the
bench.
walk-in pantry, and getting food. She ate an entire loaf of sourdough bread.
And bear in mind, it was garlic and olive oil sourdough bread as well. So I'm like, fuck, is she going to die? I don't know.
And then so panicking.
This morning,
she still smells like garlic.
Yeah.
Like
this morning, you had to come back in the house when we went to the gym because you forgot something. And you walked into the kitchen and she like sheepishly like walked out of the pantry.
she was like tiptoeing, like, "Oh my god, did
She
you
was
see
like,
me, Mum?"
she had her tail between her legs and she was like, oh my God, I've been caught. She would enjoy it. Like she used to hate it when we go to the gym because she'd be like sad that we're leaving. She'd enjoy it now. She'd be like,
to the pantry.
Breakfast time.
Yeah, and then like a day or two before that, she ate an entire bag of python,
The snakes,
like
lollies.
the lolly snakes, like an entire bag. So she's been having a good time.
The girl's getting fat.
She is. She actually got stuck in the door.
Yeah.
She got stuck in the door the other day because she's actually gotten too fat. So anyway, what were I saying?
That's something about planning your food. I think that's what we were talking about today. Yeah.
My brain.
But
anyway.
no, we generally have one breakfast each week.
Yeah, I'm back. It's come back to me. One breakfast, 2 lunches. I'll meal prep for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll have the same meal for 3 days. And then on Wednesday, we'll prep again for Thursday, Friday, and normally Saturday, depending again on like what we have on the weekends. Yep. And that way we can have a little bit more versatility within our lunches, and then our dinners change every night.
Yeah, and when we say our dinners change every night, like we are very, very boring with our dinners.
We might change the vegetable that we use.
Like we have a different meat each night. It's not necessarily a different meat. We sometimes have chicken 2 or 3 times or whatever, but we go with like whether it's a steak one night, then whether it's like chicken the next night. We have a different meat each night, and then we just have vegetables or salad to go with it. That's literally as simple as we keep it with our nutrition. And we know that we're going to hit our protein from our lunch, our dinner, and our breakfast having protein in there. And then we just incorporate some snacks each week.
Because you can't really meal prep like steak and veg for lunch. So like we stick to that for like our dinners. Whereas like pastas, curries, stir fries, salad bowls, like those sorts of things you can.
Yep.
So that's what we have for our lunches. Like our lunches are a little bit more exotic.
Exotic. What did we?
Not really.
What did we have for lunch today? A wrap.
Yeah, we're having wraps.
Chicken and salad wrap.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how we structure our meals.
Exotic.
Yeah, that was the first word that came to my head, if I'm being honest.
Oh, I love it. So that's like tracking your food, and like there's some ideas on kind of what we do. Side tangent and side note, as always. But one thing that we do with our nutrition is we make sure we never look to try and get any protein from our snacks.
Oh God, no.
Like you could look to maybe a protein shake or something, but we generally try and hit our protein with our 3 main meals. A lot of people will have a shit breakfast that might be oats with no protein, or coffee, and that's it. Like some people.
Don't get me started on the coffee.
Yeah, you would have seen it on Instagram before this episode goes live. But yeah, a lot of people like don't hit their protein targets within all of their main meals, and then it means that they're going to have to grab all these shitty protein bars or have a protein shake or 2 even for the day to try and hit their protein targets. Like get your protein in your main meals. Aim for about 30, 40, 50 grams of protein per meal. in those 3 main meals, and that gets you at
Yeah.
least 90, 120, 150 grams.
I see it all of the time when I look through like my MyFitnessPal diaries. I'm like, you're getting like 10 grams of protein through your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then you're expecting to get like another 120 grams through your snacks. Like the only way that you're going to do that is if you're eating like 3 protein bars a day, and if you're doing that,
Good luck with your
yeah,
digestion. and
good luck
your-
shitting.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, tracking your food, fucking crucial. Like you cannot go to the grocery store yet until you've tracked your food.
Yeah.
Track everything first. Yes, I understand that some foods you might need to have the barcode on MyFitnessPal. After a little while, you will have added all of your meals in. So when all of your meals are added into MyFitnessPal, then you don't need to worry about scanning all the barcodes or anything because they're already in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're finally ready once you've tracked your food and you've got a big old list of every single thing that you need to go to the grocery store. Now,
Go in with a list.
go in with a
Not
list.
like in your head. Because
Yeah,
it won't
because
end well.
you'll forget, you'll have to go back, or you'll end up grabbing shit that you don't need. And that is a really, really crucial thing, like that I mentioned in step 1 is planning. Planning when you're going to go to the grocery store. Because a lot of people will get to a Monday and go, fuck, I didn't go to the grocery store yesterday, I forgot. And if you had a busy Sunday, go on a Saturday, go on a Friday, go a different day.
like if
you've
you know
got to
your
be
Sunday's
organized.
going to be busy.
Yeah. And like if you're out all day on a Sunday and you're not going to get back till 8 p.m., you're not going to the grocery store at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night. So plan your weeks a bit better. And then go to the grocery store, get in there, get done, and get out. Like that's a bit of advice.
Fuck around.
Don't fuck around because
A
you'll
lot
then
of-
end
yeah.
up down the sweets aisle, the lollies aisle, and down there grabbing here, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, well, a lot of people like avoid going to the grocery store because I think it's so time consuming. The only reason it's time consuming is because you don't have the mentality of like, I know what I need. I'm going to get in, get out, go home.
Yep.
Everyone's like, I can't do it. Like, it just takes so long. Like, I've got to spend like an hour in the grocery stores. I'm like, what the hell are you doing in the grocery store for an hour, sis? Like, whoa.
Unless you live in a small town and you just chat to everyone.
Yeah. But even that though, like, Jesus.
And my other bit of advice for the week, go to fucking Aldi. Oh, we've been saving
Aldi's
$120 a week.
Yeah, like it's I've got
going to
my
Aldi.
dad on Aldi, and
Yes.
he's been like a Coles shopper his entire life, like the 65 years or how old he is.
He's not that old.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, his whole life. Aldi, it's the best.
Yeah, it's good. You will have to go to Woolies and Coles afterwards probably to grab all the other little bits.
Oh,
but
if you tack
generally, we've worked out we save about $120 a week.
Yeah, it's crazy.
By the way, that's $6,000 a year.
Of course you're doing that.
Our coaching costs less than $120 a week, so we'll just tell you to go to Aldi and then you can sign up to work with us. Come on over.
Oh my God.
I've got an affiliation with Aldi now.
I was going to say, are you sponsored by Aldi? That would be great.
So yeah, go to the grocery store, get in, get out. The other thing you could do as well is online grocery shopping.
We used to do that.
Your produce probably isn't going to be the ones that you'd pick. Like you don't get to fucking grope your avocados in the aisle.
Grope. Oh my God, I love that word. Grope.
Grope.
I'm going to use that
a good one, isn't it?
so often.
Yeah,
now.
but you don't get to grope your avocados to make sure that you've got the nice soft ones. You're probably going to get whatever they pick and
Yeah, I think
whatever's
I'm
left.
going to go grope my avos.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Bit of
cool.
go to the grocery store, grope your avos, get in there, get done, get out. And then you can move on to
Well, let's do like a little scorecard check now because
Yeah.
we're over halfway. Number 1, Russ.
number 1, plan,
Number 2.
track,
Number 3.
shop.
Have you ticked off all 3? Do you plan every single week? Do you track every single week? Do you shop every single week? If you're 3 for 3, good on you. If you're not, then what are you missing? Like what step are you missing and do you need to revisit this week? Let's move on. Number 4.
Number 4, prep. Now, this is one thing that people...
We'll get your
are
girlfriend to prep because you won't.
Yeah, fucking don't prep. Yeah, if you're not like cooking, get someone else to do it. But yeah, number 4 is prep. And this is something that is associated with bodybuilders and people think, prepping food is for those gym girls, for those bodybuilders. No, prepping food is for fucking...
Prepping food?
Prepping food. Prepping food is for human beings who are busy.
Want to be organised.
Fucking like, I don't get why there's such a stigma around prepping. And
Neither.
also, people don't understand it will save you so much fucking time, like so much time. It will help you achieve your goals. And when you are feeling lazy throughout the week, it's going to save you that mental drain of like, oh, I've got to cook my food now and it's a Wednesday afternoon and I'm not motivated to cook my food. If you just force yourself to spend literally like 30 to 60 minutes, you'll be able to prep your food for the week. And you don't have to prep everything. we only prep our lunches. We actually do what I said at the start with trying to spend some time together and setting those boundaries by trying to cook dinner together in the evenings. But we always have our lunches prepped. And
could you imagine the state of our nutrition? And like, I'm not even gonna lie, this happened a couple of weeks ago when we moved house. We didn't prep any of our lunches. The state of our nutrition for that entire week was horrendous, and like we felt so shit, didn't we? Because we were just eating takeout.
Yeah, we were just going past the cafe on the day, and we're just like, yeah, we're going to grab something here quickly. Like, we just were not organized whatsoever. And that is the biggest thing, is like, yeah, you can do all of the work that we've already spoken about of planning your whole week, and then you might track all your food, and you go to the grocery store and you get all this great food. And then if you don't prep it, then you end up going, literally, you go to work for the day and you haven't got any food to take with you, or you get home, you're exhausted from work, and you can't be fucking cooking dinner. So what you're going to do, you're going to head down to Macca's or somewhere. So find out what meals you need to prep. Everyone is different. I know people who prep breakfast, lunch, dinner for the whole week and prep everything on a Sunday. I personally think like at least prep your lunch. Breakfasts are a bit of an easier one in the mornings to make. But let's say
like overnight oats or chia puddings. Like if you're, if you've got to be in the office at like 8:30 or something, you can't cook at home, then you can make things like that super easily.
Yeah. And let's say like you're a parent, you got kids, like you're going to want to probably have something organized with your breakfast, because getting the kids up, getting them ready for school, getting their lunches ready, dropping them off at school, like you're not going to have too much time to sit down and have breakfast in the morning. Like it's a really, really common thing with mums is to skip breakfast because they just feel like they haven't got the time. Whereas if you have something prepped for the whole week, something prepped like an overnight oats the night before, you can literally just eat that with your kids when they're eating their breakfast and you'll be good to go. So yeah, making sure that you're prepping what you need to hit your goals for the week. And it just means when you get tired, when you're feeling like you can't be fucked through the week,
when you're stressed, when you want to go to bed, when you have like a million other things on your plate, then at least you don't have to think about your nutrition.
Yeah,
that's what I say every single week. I'm like,
it's going to save you so much time. People who are busy are like, I haven't got time to prep. Yeah. I'm like, no, you're spending more time lining up in the queue at the cafe or fucking cooking your meals each day. Let's say someone works from home like we do. We could cook all of our lunches every single day. And we've done that before when we haven't prepped and we're like, okay, yeah, we'll just cook all of our lunches every day for the week or whatever. But it might take 20, 30 minutes each day to cook your meals every single day.
But even when you said that though, like my mind went to, I don't have time for that.
Exactly.
I don't have time to sit down and actually cook my lunch.
What do you mean, babe? We work for ourselves. We can do what we want. We choose our own hours. Let's not get started on that. Yeah. No, so like, regardless of who you are, I think prepping is going to be fun. Yeah. Even if, like, let's say you're a stay-at-home mum, use that as an example. You're not going to work for the day. You don't have to prep and take your lunch with you to work or anything, but you're looking after your kids or kid or whoever.
Having a little hissy fit. Yeah. Or in Court's case, our coach.
Yeah, Harvey's jumped off of something and he's hurt himself.
On the roof.
Yeah, he's about to jump and we're like, fuck, I've got to have my lunch.
I haven't cooked my lunch.
So like that example is another example of like where prepping would be ideal, because then you don't have to worry about trying to cook your lunch when your kids are causing you absolute havoc or you've had to go and drop your kid off somewhere or whatever. You've got your lunch organised and it's already prepped, or your dinners or whatever meal you need to.
Yeah, awesome. Moving on.
Number five. Number 5 is like the dumbest thing to ever add into this. First of all,
you're probably going to like hear this tip or like this last strategy and you're going to be like, do you even need to talk about that? Absolutely, we do.
Yeah. This is the one that people do that people like do the wrong way. And that's eat.
How do you eat the wrong way?
No, that people just eat food. They don't actually do all the steps before that. They go
I was like, how do you? How else would you eat? Like,
they shove it up their ass and they hope it's going to come out the other way.
I love how I went ear and you went ass.
You're broken.
Mate,
so yeah, like
the gutter.
When we say eat, like we're talking about actually making sure that you sit down and eat. If you are busy, sit down and eat and spend that time to kind of like have that boundaries. And when it comes to eating your food, also the food that you've prepped for the week as well, if you've had it for 1 or 2 days in a row and you've got it for one extra day, like actually sitting down and having the willpower to eat what you have prepped is really, really crucial too, which a lot of people do. Like, let's not say that we've never done it, because how many times didn't we do it yesterday or the day before? We threw out something because our plans like went out the window a little bit. We threw out a meal.
The mince we cooked.
Yeah, the mince we cooked, which was definitely sitting in the fridge for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, that would have actually given us food poisoning.
But like that's because obviously we had other shit going on. However, a lot of people just don't have the willpower to stick with what they need to eat, and they just then go,
I don't really feel like
oh my God, I felt
today.
like a custard tart from the fucking bakery or some shit.
Tart.
I don't know why that came to my mind.
No.
But yeah, eating your food is so crucial because you've got to have that time where you're like, okay, I'm going to eat this meal, this meal, this meal, this snack. And so many people will track their nutrition. And we get it with clients where people have tracked their nutrition and they've done all of the 4 steps. They've obviously planned what they're going to have. They've tracked it. They've gone to the grocery store. They've even prepped their food. And I'm like, what did you actually eat on that day? And they're like, oh, yeah, like I didn't actually eat that dinner. For example, like we had someone today, I can't remember, who said that their partner like eats like shit. So if you've prepped your food and your partner's like eating bad foods, don't like give in to that kind of peer pressure and just eat what they have just because they are eating it. Eat the food that you have prepped, that you have planned, that you have organized, that you know is going to get you to your goals.
What I sometimes get clients to do that like really struggle with like the willpower of sticking to the plan. Like they've done all of these 4 steps. They've got up to like the final step of just eating the food and they fall down. What I say is like if you're doing this all of the time, sit down and actually calculate how much money you are literally putting into the bin by not sticking to your plan.
Literally.
A lot of people, once they do it, they're like, oh shit. And then like, again, work it out on a monthly basis, work it out on a yearly basis. And if you're like, holy shit, I'm losing like, let's go thousands because I fucking hate numbers. I'm putting thousands of dollars of money into the bin each week because I don't have the willpower to stick to my nutrition. Like make yourself aware of that. And then if there's something like if the issue is there that you're not inspired or excited to eat your food, you need to revisit what you're meal prepping.
Yeah,
like
literally.
Get a little bit more creative. Get a little bit more excited by what you're eating.
We're not about chicken and broccoli. Like,
no.
Make your meals enjoyable so that you actually want to eat them because then you're going to want to stick to the plan even more than you already should want to because if you want to get results, then you're going to stick to the plan.
100%.
Like, super crucial. And if you want to get like more, I guess, like looking at what you said with the money side of things, like you could almost use it as a budget method of looking at your budget every month and sit down at the end of the month and look at every single thing that you spent money on that month and then itemize it and break it down into like food that wasn't at the grocery store. Like take your Woolies, your Coles, your Aldi out of it and then work out what did you spend on food.
That you didn't need to.
And then look at it all and go, okay, cool. I've spent, and I would almost guarantee every single person who isn't being super strict with their nutrition would spend at least $500 a month on nutrition and food that they don't need. And that's on top of going to the grocery store and probably buying things that they shouldn't be eating anyway. So yeah, like make sure you do that because that will then open your eyes to not only how far away from your goals you're getting yourself, but also how much money you're wasting.
Yeah, and like how much money you're saving that you could put towards like the car that you want to buy or the new pair of shoes that you want. Like think about it that way. I like always when I speak to like new clients coming on board, like when they're trying to budget, like working in to work with us, like having a coach, I'm like, all right, well, how much money do you spend out on takeout every single week? And they're like, oh, maybe like $20 a day, maybe like, I don't know, $60, $90. And I'm like, done.
Do you know my like
cut that out, join us. Happy bloody days.
My biggest pet peeve is when people say, oh, I couldn't stick to the meal plan because it cost me too much. That they go to the grocery store. Go to the grocery store and they see that the amount that they spend at Woolies for the week is higher than what they spent previously. But they don't take into consideration all of the shit that they bought at, as I said, the bakery, at Macca's, at like all your cafes that they don't now spend when they're eating better food. So the other thing as well, a lot of people don't do all of the steps that we give. So when you do plan your nutrition, you track your nutrition, you then go to the grocery store and buy it all, you're going to buy everything for the whole week all at once. Whereas a lot of people, they might just buy whatever they feel like going in there with like no plan, grab whatever, and that's only 2 days worth of food. So they're like, oh, I only spend $50 a week on food. Yeah, you spend $50 and then by Tuesday night you've run out and you have to go back again on Wednesday and you grab Wednesday's dinner and then you go back on Thursday. And if you're going to the grocery store 4 or 5 times a week, $40-50 each time adds up. Mm-hmm. And whereas if you go and you spend $300 at once, it's going to be way less than if you're spending $40 or $50 4 or 5 times a week.
Practical advice with Raj.
Anyway, that's your 5 steps of nutrition. Should we recap? And if you're keeping track
get
at
that
home,
scorecard out.
get that scorecard out. And also sit down and go, okay, write these down as well. Write them down and work out which one is the one that you screw up or which multiple ones are the ones that you screw up. So we've got plan, number 1. We've got track, which is number 2. We've got shop, which is number 3. Prep is number 4. And then eat is number 5. You can tell that I teach this quite a bit because no notes today. If you hadn't noticed, no notes. That's us.
Honestly, I'm just...
Do all these 5 things. You will get your nutrition on track. You will get results and you'll thank me later. And if you don't,
No,
then
but like as I was saying at the start of the episode, like it's very basic stuff. Like it's not rocket science. You might even be sitting here thinking like, guys, like I already know this. Fantastic. If you already know this, then your nutrition should be flawless.
You increase your chances and you edge your bets in terms of getting results.
Edge your bets, that's a good one.
That's the biggest take home from this is if you do all of these things, you are far more likely to actually get results because then you can start looking at all the other little things. Yep. But this is the biggest indicator as to when people get results is if they follow these 5 steps. So speak to you all in next week's episode. Thanks for joining.
We hope it was useful.
Yeah, I hope it was useful. If you've got any questions on it, as always, let us know. See you next week.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.